playing. But now they've gone through a little bit of a slump, and the road to playoffs for Sin does not get any easier. This is the last game they have where they are playing someone below them on the ladder. From here on out, they're only playing top sides.
Yeah, of course. The Chiefs are coming up in the next weeks as well. It's going to be very, very difficult for Sin to really find their footing. But as you can see here, Week 5 couldn't pick up a victory against Immunity or Legacy. Of course, Legacy above them, but Immunity sitting below them there on the standings. But now Absolute seems to be their only game that they're considered to win outright heading into it.
Yeah, it certainly is. And, you know, we've spoken about the fact that Immunity, they were looking for their playoffs run, unfortunately got upset tonight against Sudden Fear, who, very fortunate for Sudden Fear fans, able to pick up their first win. But now it's all about Sin. They have to take on the Absolute lineup here. Then they go against Avant, the team that just dropped a game. So pressure goes onto Avant right now. But Chiefs and Direwolves is your final week. That is a very tough ask to try and scrounge together some much-needed points.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, the Direwolves maybe not necessarily the opponent that they were expecting if it was sort of towards the beginning of the split, but still definitely high above them on the standings. But the Chiefs, I mean, you have to go into that game thinking, okay, what are we going to do after this loss? Because they're just looking so dominant.
No team ever prepares to go into a team as a loss. I can guarantee you that even Tim will be looking to go toe-to-toe. They have some very class acts around the Rifts. They're able to pull it together. They have the veterans in their lineup, the likes of Rosie, the likes of Cardred, very experienced players. They've got the jungle mid synergy that a lot of teams look for in Juves and Rheinmeister. So I think that they would be confident, but we are into Champions Select for this game.
Yeah, getting into Champions Select already. Alistair, Rek'Sai, and Draven going to be banned away because we have some changes on the Absolute lineup here. Of course, Jack Attack's still there in the top lane, Malik there in the jungle, but Mattress is in the mid lane. First Mate is going to be the AD carry. Of course, it's been a while since we've seen First Mate. Mattress and First Mate, very, very close. Of course, did play on the team NV just a while ago. But Strawbella, she's back in the sub role as well. So Absolute most definitely mixing it up this time around.
Yeah, they certainly are. I love how you say just a while ago. That was a very long time ago that they played together. But they are back, reunited at last, Starcross lovers. And we will have a new AD carry and mid laner coming in for this match.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one. And of course, Strawbella and First Mate, maybe not had as much time to work on synergy as they would have otherwise liked. Now up against Cardred and Trashboat. I guess Cardred and Trashboat themselves only been playing for the last couple of weeks on this lineup. And Sin have really tried to put in a lot of veterancy into their lineup as well. I mean, Rosie there in the top lane. He's been playing for the team all split. But Cardred moves in halfway through. Another veteran here for Sin Gaming. Really wanting to try and create some options for themselves. But didn't work last week. We'll see whether they can turn it around moving into this game. But the first pick going to be the Gragas after Rise and Callista were banned away, as well as the Azir on the sides of Sin and Avant.
Yeah, so
Absolute maybe.
Yep, so Absolute go with the Gragas first pick, you know, just a control jungler coming through here. I'm actually expecting for Caitlyn Janna lane to just be locked in straight away from Sin, because why not? You have Cardred, you have Trashboat, just grab their signature champions, move on with the rest of Champions Select.
Yeah, and you saw the fact that Cardred, after playing Caitlyn for 3 games in a row, didn't exactly find comfort on the Jinx pick that he opted for last time around. So makes a little bit of sense if they are going to lock that one in, but Cardred actually straight away onto the Sivir, so proving me wrong once again.
Yeah, mix it up, but Rheinmeister has gone with an Echo as his first pick, and the man came in. He said that it's exploitable. There are definitive weaknesses in the kit, and twice now has picked it before the other mid laner, looking to really take it to Mattress with a burst assassin in the mid lane.
Well, it could be. Of course, Juves could be opting to take that one into the jungle.
Rheinmeister's champion. No chance.
Look, that has been how it has looked thus far. We'll see how the champion select goes, but keep it in your mind, Spawn, that he could be in the jungle. Mattress considering a tree there. Not exactly that comfortable, but I could understand, as Malik is opting for the Janna, picking it away from Trashboat.
Yeah, and you see they don't want to have the Sivir Janna lane that's very good at shoving out early with all the bonus AD. Maybe they'll look for First Mate to, on his return to Oceanic Pro League, just pick up something that is very safe and comfortable, like a Caitlyn, being able to couple it with the Janna down in the bottom lane.
Yeah, and I find it very interesting, the fact that First Mate, first game on the lineup here, first time we've seen him in quite some time, already draws 2 bans in the Draven and the Callista. Very interesting stuff.
Draven is a very specialized band. It's kind of, Draven's the best AD carry player if you play Draven, and then horrible if you don't play Draven, whereas Callista is just all-around brilliant at the moment. Great engage, fantastic disengage. The safety that it lends to your support, someone like Strawbella, who's already innately very safe when she plays the game. Have to see well, it's banned, so we're not going to say anything. But I guess I understand the reasoning for taking it away.
Yeah, and if he's going to stay on the lineup, of course, that is going to be an extra ban that's going to need to be thrown at first mate as we move forward. But as we can see, Sin taking a little while with their last couple of picks. Cardred is hovering a Twitch. Not sure how he's supposed to play Sivir and Twitch at the same time, but I'd definitely throw it out there that, you know, if he could give it a shot, it'd be interesting to see. Is instead going to move over to what looks like a Morgana pick away as Rymeister locks in the Hecarim. So finally they make their decisions. And what do you feel about the Hecarim there in the top lane into the Maokai? Pretty standard stuff by the looks.
Just a really standard lane. Like, Hecarim is just the guy that wants to continue to scale up, especially if he goes with that smite. If he goes Ignite, we might see a little bit more of the Assassin Pony coming through there. But Maokai tries to neutralize a lot of lanes, just continue to farm up. Is good at all stages of the game, really a solid tank. More of a disengage option. If you look over at Absolute right now, you would expect something that is a fast push or a little bit of a poke composition, because they have Maokai, they have Janna, they have the Gragas. They're very good at setting up around structures, sieging them down, and then disengaging the team fight. Yeah,
and the multiple AoE displacements as well with the Monsoon, and of course the explosive cast they're available to Gragas. So we'll see whether they are going to be able to utilize those effectively. I wouldn't be surprised if First Mate didn't opt for something like the Caitlyn here in this game. Of course, we've seen Caitlyn Janna be sort of the lane of want, but First Mate actually did play a fair bit of the Corki, and that could make sense too.
Yeah, it certainly could, you know, and Corki, very good mixed damage coming through there, although now that they lock in an Orianna, they're actually short on raw AD damage coming through there. Probably going to see Blade of the Ruined King picked up second to try and make up of that, go a little bit more of an attack damage build. But right now, 2-threat comp coming out, big tanky guy in the top lane. The Wombo combo definitely available through the ball delivery system. But as far as persistent damage goes, after that first burst comes out of the big one, Phosphorus Bomb and the Shockwave, they don't really have much damage to follow up.
Well, maybe this is the game spawn for the Maokai to build the Trinity Force after double... Oh, damn. I was excited about it for a moment. Rymeister now actually considering a mid laner. They are going to lock in the Kassadin, and your words must be eaten now, Spawn, as that is going to be Juves on the Echo.
Yeah, it certainly is. So Rymeister, he doesn't take it first pick. Juves gets to play it in the jungle. I never thought I would see that day, but, you know, Orianna is a great pick against Echo, does very well with the range harass, forces him off farm. On the other hand, very hard through magic damage alone to force Kassadin out of lane. So you can understand the pickup coming through there. Still an assassin playing champion in the mid lane for Rymeister to come through, but he forfeits his pick.
Yeah, forfeits his pick, gives it over to Juves. A little bit upsettedly, you could imagine, but more than happy to do that because this Kassadin is going to be able to run rampant in these fights. That Q, the shield, is going to be so useful against everyone.
Yeah, it certainly is, and you know, a little bit of a shorter range coming through there from Corki. Only one gap closer to get away. Kassadin makes up for that very well, particularly in the late game, so going to be able to chase the members through. And the problem with Kassadin, if you don't have this persistent damage to get through the shield and then kill him, he just runs rampant over the team. And we said, what a one thing they have, a lot of burst damage. If Kassadin can survive that, maybe Zhonya's out one of the combinations and then get onto the backline, this is going to be a very painful experience for the Absolute Gaming lineup.
Well, if Absolute Gaming actually managed to get into the right type of team fights earlier on before all that magic resist can possibly come in, is there an opportunity for them to maybe run over a dragon fight just with their raw power spikes alone?
Yeah, there certainly is. You know, you have to look at the likes of Orianna, Corki. They have very good one-item power spikes there, and they have some relatively high base damages coming through on Maokai and Gragas. So it is a possibility. But you look over on the side of Sin, and they have scaling in 3 roles. You know, Sivir gets very good at the end of the game, really only range being an issue, but then you have Hecarim, you have the Kassadin, even Echo late game, I would say, is much more useful than the Gragas coming in there, just has very high base damage. You have to kill the guy twice, and he builds very tanky, so expecting Sin to, I guess, try and drag this one a little bit later, why, you're right, Absolute have to accelerate the game.
Well, we'll see whether they can. But ladies and gentlemen, we want to hear from you. I want you to hop over onto Twitter. Use that hashtag ABSWin if you want the break, if you want Absolute to win the game, or hashtag SinWin if you want Sin to win that one. And of course, fantastic for the rhyme. So maybe just throw it out there if you like rhyming.
Yeah, you could definitely do that, and we'll see who does actually come out ahead.
You stuff that you really don't want to respond to, Spawn.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you very much, mate. But we'll see whether Absolute are able to string it together because, you know, this is a team that going to be playing their first game with Mattress in the mid lane. We'll have to see how he stands up against Rhymemeister. Mattress is a very old veteran player of the Oceanic scene, so has been around for a long time. I'm sure he does play the Orianna in the mid lane, and they'll be looking for him to a very solid performance.
Yeah, and of course, Mattress actually historically played a heck of a lot of Lulu there. Actually did play it in the mid lane a little bit, but it was a very, very long time ago. But of course, utility, definitely a thing that Mattress is very, very capable of, was doing it for a very long time, and Orianna offers a lot of that. The Command Protect going to be a very pivotal ability, making sure that you can get those shockwaves in the right position. But we'll see whether he's had enough practice here in the mid, because it could be interesting going up against Rhymemeister, who actually busted out onto the scene looking very, very powerful very early on, was someone we were expecting big things from.
Yeah, Rhymemeister is like this new guy on the block that very solid Oceanic talent pool in the mid lane right now. You have people like Swiffer, Cheese running around. You have to throw Perfection, Choo-Choo's, the Yasuo we saw last game. But Rhymemeister really was able to come into the lineup and shake that up a lot. He plays Control Mage as well, but Assassins are his forte. And, you know, Cassinan, one of the older Assassins in the game. I'm interested to see what build he goes with, whether he does go Rod of Ages into something like a Zhonya's and ramp up into a Athene's Unholy Grail and go for the reset build that we see a lot. If you get a kill, all your mana comes back. That's why it's called that. So we'll see what he chooses to go, or if he just goes something brutal, like throw a Lich Bane in there and try and blow people up.
Yeah, just get massive W damage. The other thing I'm interested in is the fact that we've spent so much time watching Sin play these games throughout the weeks, and we've seen Juves spending a heck of a lot of time early on in the game in that mid lane, making sure that he can create leads for Rhymemeister. In all their victories, it seems to be Juves, or of course Huey, when he was standing in for the side, did exactly the same thing, made sure that they were putting Rhymemeister in a winning position. Can he do that on this Echo?
Yeah, certainly can. Echo, we've seen it a lot from Spooks, has a great gank path into mid lane from behind one of the lanes. You throw the W out, able to gap close a lot with the E, throw a flash on top of that, and you just come out of Fog of War at rate of knots. And, you know, it is the top side of the map that benefit from that. Kadra, Trashboat, they're a self-sufficient bottom lane, really do stick by themselves. But Rosie and Rhymemeister dictate 100% of Juves' time. The guy doesn't even get to farm. All he does is gank those two lanes.
Yeah, we often talk about that bottom lane of Sin being facilitators, but that's because kind of they have to be. There's not a lot of jungle pressure down there on the bottom side, but I definitely want to get into this game. Let's throw it over to the casters. Pastry Time and Rusty to take us there.
Thank you once again, Atlas and Spawn, as we're about to enter our final game of the evening. My name is Julian Pastry Time Card. Joining with me for the final time tonight is Zach Rusty Pie. It's an interesting matchup here. Absolute playing with a couple subs here, seeing if they can pick up another win. And Sin, a team that really just wants to win to get themselves closer and closer to top 4.
Yeah, Sin desperately needing the wins right now. And Absolute changing up the rosters a little bit might be the time for this Sin lineup to attack. And we'll see how they do go when we get into this game. But they're still very old school players here from the Absolute lineup, so no slouches whatsoever.
No, not at all here. And just to let you know, we do have a pause in the game, but we'll be there relatively soon, so we guys can get you all that sweet OPL action. Whose team comp do you like, Rusty? I'm curious on your thoughts on the draft here.
I like both, but in a very different, unique way. And what I like about Absolute's team comp is the way that it plays to their strengths. Mattress being a support player much more. We've seen him in the OPL as support for Absolute. Now in that mid lane, throw back a couple seasons to when he was able to play every role super well, and he was an Orianna player. Actually, every champion from this side of Absolute is throwing back a few seasons to when they were super good, and they've only just come back around again to be really good. So I like their comp for the fact that they're all going to be comfortable on those champions. They've got a very good Wombo, the Orianna. They've got the Maokai to be that frontline tank, the Janna for support as well. All around, it's a very well supported team comp. But as mentioned out in the war room, the fact they need to really accelerate the game and maintain strengths before they fall behind.
I think for me, you're looking at the mid lane. Obviously, Mattress coming in is a legacy player in OCU, does have a lot of experience in multiple lanes, including mid. But Rhymemeister's been on fire, especially on Assassins. His Cassidy seems very scary. I don't think we've seen it from him yet.
I don't know if we've seen the Cassidy, but we're forcing him onto this Assassin now against Orianna, and it's a very passive, safe, sustained sort of oriented mid laner that just wants to scale through. But you cannot really scale up against the Cassidy and the pressure that can get put down. If the Cassidy gets through early lane phase, gets a gank perhaps in favor, and starts to snowball that mid lane, Orianna just starts to fall more and more behind, and then the Cassidy can roam, and Rhymemeister, we know loves to, might be able to find himself with some leads.
I like that you suggested, like, find a gank in mid lane, because we all know Juves is gone.
Oh, yeah, no.
He's getting straight into the mid lane at the earliest possible opportunity, and he's a really cool jungler to do that with, Echo.
Yeah, it wasn't even a hint. It's going to happen. The question is, when is it going to happen? The cool part about Echo is the availability of ganking from the opposition side of the jungle. So we've seen a lot of the parallel convergence being placed down and then flashing or jumping over the Raptor wall so that they 100% get stunned. They can come in level 2 gank like Juice always does, maybe blow away the flash, and then consistently just come back. And one thing Echo is really good at is ganking mid.
Yeah, which we've seen obviously from Spooks that they mentioned from the Chiefs. Hoping to see it now from Juvzo, who does love to pay his mid laner Rymeister quite a bit of attention. I feel like in general it's going to be relatively self-sufficient here. Rosie is on the Hecarim, but he's got the smite, so going to help himself through any sort of early troubles here. I guess for me, we've seen Victor Echo be really effective. Really curious to see what Kassadin and Echo does, because it's a different sort of dynamic, but Echo can really enable Kassadin to get quickly in and out of fights.
Yeah, different dynamic, not so much the Venn diagram, but more in-your-face assassin style. And Juve's most likely going to go for the tanky build here, is Cardred zoning away the ward placement from Mattress.
You've already seen some pretty sick level 1 wall kills. Oh, Cardred! He didn't have Ricochet. He missed it.
Nope, he made a mistake right there. He lost out on 10 gold.
Well, he's going to miss it now, as he at least does know where the ward is. Juve's going to eat a sapling there as well, which was scouting out the position of the junglers. Juve's right now towards his Raptor camp looking at the road, but can always transition over if he feels like starting on the other side.
Yeah, we've got the 5-point start here from all of the members of both teams. You can see Siva actually sitting in that mid lane, potentially looking for the lane swap, but they've decided they're going to get 2v2, and Jack Attack going to start those Raptors too.
I think for Absolute, sort of expecting standard lanes here. I do like this setup from Jack, though. Just making sure he gets some saplings dunk and start a camp. But Rosie, he's got a smite. He's most definitely going to be able to do a camp.
Oh yeah, he can do whatever he would like in terms of camps right now. Just be coordination with Juves as to if they want to jungle together for a little bit to make sure that it is the 2v2 matchup, as sometimes people tend to do that and just teleport back to the lane after a little while once it evens out. Or he could do the Wolves and just take them, recall, get some extra pots, and come back to lane healthy.
You can always jungle with Juves if there is a swap, but we know we'll get standard lanes here as Juves starting W level 1 here, getting quite a bit of help. I smell a level 2 gank.
No, most Echoes do start with that W.
Okay.
Yeah, increases the damage on the passive, I believe, as well from the W. And then you also just get a 2-second stun, essentially. So it's great to do. You've always got the leash to help you through it, and then you're level 2 by the time you go to the next camp anyway.
Today I learned with Rusty. Yeah. Echo jungle starts with W. He's going to be on his blue buff now. Strawbella and First Mate taking a good chunk of damage. I love the Draven ban in this game as well. We saw First Mate again. Another old school player. He used to play for X5 way back in the day. But it's nice to see, honestly, First Mate back in the team, but Strawbella back in the team as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the side's a lot different to what you're used to seeing, of course. And, I mean, we'll see how they actually go together. It's almost like reuniting of the old school players.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it develops here as Rymeister getting pushed in early, but able to see us nicely under turret. Strawbella low actually as Cardred going in there with Trash Boat and the Morgana. We don't see this matchup all that often. Corki is starting to pick up a bit more pace though, but feels quite Siva favored, Rusty.
Yeah, Corki's starting to get a lot more popular, but you're right, the Spell Shield tending to help Cardred, in this case on the Siva, a lot in the matchup. The Phosphorus Bomb traveling quite slowly, a big factor into why that goes well. And Siva always able to control the wave, especially with Morgana there throwing down the pool at every opportunity.
See again, Trashboat and Cardred getting aggressive where they can. Great binding lands on a First Mate. Boomerang blades out. Heal is used. Cardred forced to pop his late as well. Very late usage of the summoner spells, trying to beat the other AD carry.
Not a bad trade all in all. Both AD carries with no health to speak of. Morgana having a little bit more kill pressure though than that of the Janna. So Sin still in the commanding position in this lane. They've also got the minion stack working for them. It's up to them if they want to stay around and risk the jungler being there though.
Well, looks like they are going to back away from this one. First Mate will collect his CS and then likely do the same here. Cardred, you can see, recalling away. And as we check in with the top lane briefly, Rosie, holding the wave in a nice little spot here, just getting farmers. It's really all you want in this lane as a Hecarim.
Yeah, definitely. You're trying to scale through and just be super strong with your first blind. Maybe go for some lane resistances, opt towards the Trinity Force perhaps, but because you have the smite, it limits you to at least one item.
Trash Bird comes in for a roam. Well, we expected the early gank in mid. Like, it was not the jungler, though. Trash Boat unfortunately missing that part.
Do we define that as a gank or like a hand, like a wave?
Is there, like is there an attempted gank?
Just in case you were not aware, we can gank you.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea, although Malik maybe going to show him up here, coming in for a gank onto Rymeister. Does have the flash. Ball just out of range. Matt just low on mana here in the matchup. Oh, good body slam though from Alec landing in. Rymeister though shakes it off. Not too worried.
They're shaking it off, are they?
They are.
Nothing really impactful from both members who have come in the mid lane. They're just kind of saying hello, putting some pressure down, and no surprise the Gragas trying to put pressure onto a Cassidy, but Oriana using a lot of mana, expending most of her mana for that.
Rymeister, you can see up a little bit of CS here in the lane, almost 10 up actually. Rymeister is approaching the 35 mark, but that's just keeping it relatively even. Malik on the top side now, gonna look for a gank. I believe he just walked over a ward though, so it might be a bit tricky.
Yeah, Rosie.
Oh no, he didn't.
No reason to actually stay there regardless though, so he's going to back off. He has no health, no mana, and luckily for him, it was at the same time as Malik being there.
Nice timing there from Rosie. No Magic Mantle though, the first item for Rosie, so might be looking for a quick Merc Treads into those Home Guard enchantments.
Yeah, definitely. Looking for the lane resistances, of course, against the Maokai. Able to get the Home Guards that have very impactful teleport ganks.
Oh, Rymeister going to get ganked. That's an easy kill by the look of things. No, Rymeister still alive. Matches flashes forward. First blood goes to Oriana. Juve's there, but not enough maybe for you to protect. No, it's not.
Both junglers having the same idea. The problem is one had no health, the other one had no mana, and Oriana's auto attacks are always going to be relevant. So getting out there with both of their lives, finding the kill onto Rymeister, a fantastic start here. This Absolute.
Yeah, the pre-6 Rymeister. Nice gank there from Malik. And Mattress are able to get first blood for himself. Cardred, though, starting to sort of strong-arm the bottom lane here. He's almost 20 CS ahead, getting damage onto the turret now as well. Just not stopping pushing, even as double Doran's Blade.
The pressure just completely being placed, forced to back around the income of having a second Doran's and opting into that, whereas First Mate can go more for the effective item builder, the Phage. But using this Doran's Blade effectively enough to have such a sizable lead, definitely worth it.
Malik, you can see, training towards the bottom side of the map. Might be looking for a lane gank through there. Trash Boat, though, putting the pull down, trying to look for a binding. I think used it earlier. Didn't quite land that one, so doesn't have it just yet, as Malik is coming into lane in time to force a 3v2.
Needing to work on some lessons in angles at the moment. Trash Boat having a bit of a hard time connecting the bindings, but they're also baiting for Malik.
This is a nice bait here as well. Malik now going to come in. Trash Boat's the target. Cardred actually going to get attacked by First Mate. Now he'll change target. Good binding, though, for Trash Boat. Does give him the kill, but they'll get the trade.
A big mistake there from Absolute, not both focusing the one target. They turn it around, they make a trade. First Mate for Trash Boat, definitely worth it because Cardred is still here.
Yeah, and now Juve's down as well. Might be looking for a gank, but doesn't quite go for the opportunity. Rosie level 6 as well. Jack attack the same here, but Rosie maybe trying to get a bit more done here as Juves is going to find himself on the bottom side. Spots Malik walking through. Phase dives on top of him. Good time winder there as well. Will slow him down and pops the passive. Good W placement. Not quite enough though. Instead just spots a ward.
And he's about to spot a Gragas running at him with the Janna shield. So
Easy. Once the ward doesn't have enough duration left on the Raptor smite buff to take it. But a good little trade. Juves make sure that Cardred's safe in the bottom lane.
yeah, just being around there to ensure that he can farm. And this is a big difference right now. The fact that First Mate went down, didn't even find the kill in the end. It does go to Janna. Whereas, oh my god, they just keep coming mid.
Yep, it's like a parade of Sin Gaming members coming in to gank Rymeister's lane, but he's alright so far. He's got a Blasting Wonder, Ruby Crystal, and level 6, so should be able to just farm up from this point. Actually does have a CS lead as Malik might be caught out here. Juve's going to look again, finds the Raptor instead. That's a nice little takeaway.
It's almost like a conveyor belt that goes from mid lane to bot and then back through the jungle, and there's rinsing and repeating right now. They're not finding a whole lot of kills from it, but they are still just controlling the area, making sure that Malik can't go anywhere without being noticed.
Well, certainly Cardred's not worried. He's 20 plus CS ahead of his opponent already.
Yeah.
Does have the double endurance. He feels very comfy, even in a 1v1 or 1v2.
Oh, that'll be a BF sword once he decides to recall. Most likely going to push out and do so. The fact that the bot lane have started to ramp up in terms of their items, your effective trading starts to go down the longer you prolong getting that item.
I wonder if Cardred wants to go back. Not
Yeah,
quite
push it into the turret if he
yet.
ever decides. And it's a cannon wave, so super important that you get cannons. Just because cannons.
These cannons. We've seen Colorcasters I've noticed, they have like a really sore spot for when people miss cannons.
Like that one?
Yep.
That's pretty bad.
That's pathetic.
It was quite
They are going to go back though.
saddening.
Does push the wave into the turret, able to take it out. And another Colorcaster is sad because someone missed a cannon.
Very disheartened by that. But they are so far ahead in farm that it doesn't really matter too much. There's the saving grace of that.
Oh, Strawbeller actually going to face check a brush with a big ward in. A transport roams in. Q will get flashed there by Strawbeller, and First Mate's going to turn things around. Cardred, optimistic ult, good spell shield though. Looks like he's going to have to push the wave back.
Yeah, they're keeping them in the lane right now, and that is fantastic for this Absolute side. Being behind in farm, but the effective strength of both 2v2s is still slightly in favor of Absolute because they haven't had a chance to buy all of this money into an item.
Now like level 6 as well in the top side. Rosie, I think knowing, now knows Gragas coming in. Ulti doesn't go off. Rosie pops his instead. Drew's good W there, but everyone backs away from it. Just make sure Rosie's okay. He's going to hold the lane.
That was a really desperate attempt to save the pink ward from Rosie right there. Almost runs into his own death as, whoa.
Ulti there coming in. Barrier pop by Mattress. Rymeister, good 1v1 all in there.
I think Mattress thought he had Ignite for a second there. Throwing the barrier at the same time as his ultimate. A very interesting decision.
Maybe. I know I've done that once or twice here. Cassidy is getting some nice farm in the mid lane.
Yeah, overall, actually, all of Sin doing very well. The top lane even, but mid and bottom finding an advantage from laning alone. A lot of pressure being placed by both junglers, especially around the mid and bottom areas. But what has actually come from that is mostly CS.
And we look up now, see the gold lead, only 300 up for Sin. There are, obvious advantages in lanes, but like you mentioned, they're quite small at this point in the game. 11 minutes in, pretty quiet, honestly, in the laning phase.
Yeah, nothing crazy happening from laning phase. Everyone just hanging around and trying to scale up in items. And the fact that they are doing this, and this is a ridiculously good item by timing, is a Rod of Ages completed for Rymeister at 11 minutes on the dot.
That is fast there, so it'll be all charged up just over the 20-minute, about the 21-minute mark there. Looking good there. Hecarim also scaling up as well. Honestly, Sin's comp, apart from maybe the Sivir, really do just want to sit here and farm for a little while.
Even the Sivir still scales quite well because she's so team-based in her damage and has the utility to survive late game. So not too bad against this Absolute lineup is the Sin scaling. And we'll see if that's what they want to do. If they want to sit around, wait until they get their items, or work around what is already a Rod of Ages completed for Rymeister and start impacting everywhere.
Rymeister level 9 now, starting to get a bit more aggressive. Actually has 5 points in the queue as Juves goes in now. The ulti's been popped. Strawbella, the target there as Malik dives in as well. Teleport's coming through. Juves will get the first kill. Stuns up on a Malik there as well. And Rosie looks like he's cancelled the port. First mate though does get the kill onto Trashbro. Now they'll chase in Juves and Kadra. Malik too far forward, does flash. Juves goes in, forced to ulti back though for some health. And Matches just come down. Juves gets caught in the ulti after flashing. That does go to first mate. Well played, Absolute.
Cancelling the teleport from Rosie? I don't think he actually used it at all. It was Jack Attack who got his cancelled.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Oh, sorry. I saw that wrong.
That's fine.
The fact that Rosie couldn't teleport is a big factor in that, of course, though, because look at the pressure being placed on this top lane. All in all, Sin find the hard way that Rymeister did not want to roam as much as Mattress. He's content farming in the mid lane. Mattress having a very hard time farming. Decides to roam as the option, but it comes out so successful that is worth it all in all for them.
That is nice. They're coming in. First mate actually the big beneficiary. 2-1-1 now on the Corki. Athene's done for Mattress as well. Absolute starting to put on a bit more pressure. You feel like they're going to get towards a relatively smooth mid game.
Yeah, they're starting to round out. They've got 2 kills on the first mate as well, 1 onto Mattress. All in all, the money is on the right target, so their mid-game strength. And as Spawn mentioned earlier, trying to accelerate that mid-game to maintain the lead, find themselves with some kind of control is now starting to come to fruition. The first big item completed for Orianna starting to ramp up, and Corki not too far away from that Trinity Force.
He is not, but fairly patient game from both teams again. Lots of farming happening. 13.5 minutes in. No Dragon been looked at just yet. No turrets down. Again, 4-2 up in kills is a nice little lead for Absolute, but that gold lead about 500-600 up. Nothing massive as Kadra just going to mash shove the waves in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Kadra having his BF sword and pickaxe available now, able to wave clear so exceptionally. It's just going really well for them in terms of laning. And speaking of going well in laning, Mattress having a very hard time.
Yeah, Rymeister does need to let that Rod of Ages charge up a bit, so can't be as aggressive as he was just 1v1. Rosie, though, might be looking for something. Could just be wards here into the jungle. Does put one down, get some good vision of the Gromp and Blue, but they will spot him out with that Wolf Spirit as Juves. He is committing to some sort of gank in the mid lane.
Juves known for committing to
Oh, it's gone in. That's a very good W. Now going to lock him up. Mattress, so good double ulti coming through. That might force the ult. Doesn't force it from Echo, but they can't get the kill.
Yeah, the barrier mid lane, of course, rushing that magic while they're fighting bottom.
Yeah, it's Kadra though. Black Shield on him means that Tornado doesn't happen. Strawbella will reset with the ulti. Trashboat's ult does proc, and First Mate's going in. Kadra, Flash Auto gets the kill. Now Trashboat in trouble. Slow down, they're coming through. Vajana eats the binding though as the damage comes through. First Mate is going to get the double. 2-for-1 trade in the bottom.
And that definitely worth the Absolute right there. They find the kills in what was arguably a very bad situation to be in. The effective damage coming out from First Mate using that Sheen proc to a T. They find themselves with a very good trade. And now this bot lane has completely blown out. 4-0 in kills on these AD carries.
And despite the farm lead that Kadra have, it can't make up for all those kills.
No.
That the Corki has. You can see blue buffs though going to be handed over to their mid laners. Rhymeister got his about 20 seconds ago. Matches will go ahead and pick up his now. And you talked about the kills for Corki. First Mate goes back, and what does he get? But a nice 15-minute Trinity Force.
Yeah, it picks up his Trinity Force easy as she does it right there, and in a much more comfortable position than he evidently already was.
Yeah, looking good there as Rosie's still trying to fight Jack, but also scaling up the Smite Hecarim especially. He does need time to sort of brew and really get that item build going.
He does need time, and Malek spending a lot of time in the top lane, but the Dragon is being started.
Yeah, Sin's call is Dragon. No vision right there for Absolute in the actual pit. Plenty of good neutral vision around it, but don't have vision of the exact objective, so Sin will get themselves this first Dragon. Juice should be able to smite it away, and does. But they might lose the tower in the top side. Rosie trying to make his way back. Rhymeister posturing aggressively, but Absolute get the first tower. Sin get the first dragon.
Yeah, trading dragons for a turret always going to be in favor of Absolute, though. Money for non-money advantages. At 15 minutes in the game, the 6% not really enough to impact anywhere, and you'll see bot lane still starting to go in favor of Absolute. Top lane has swung back into favor of Jack Attack quite severely, and now everywhere, though it has looked really good for Sin early, has started to turn on its head.
Well, they are going to get the tower here. Juve's down the bottom side looking for a gank, but instead zones them off the wave and allows Kadra to make sure the tower goes down. Malek is also sort of roaming through the jungle on his Gragas. Kadra waiting a little bit, trying to deny maximum creep, but he'll get the turret now.
Yeah, he's picking up the turret, every minion going down beforehand. So very smart play there from Kadra to secure the at least denial of minions before the objective, and top lane just continuously trading, but no kills to speak of, really.
Looks like Sin might rotate that duo to the mid lane here, look for a gank, or quite possibly, yep, ulti pop by Kadra, they want to go. But instead, they'll just zoom themselves towards the turret. They're going to try and take it.
They were spotted by a ward on their journeys through, so the rest of Absolute are already here to stop this from happening. And I mean, very, very smart ward placement, and a very interesting decision to go all in there from Sin, but they can't find any.
It's so hard for them to siege, like in a traditional sense, just because they don't have that much poke unless a binding hits, and Kadra is quite short-ranged on the Sivir, although Rhymeister is transferring to the bottom lane to try and pick up some farm.
Yeah, they're banking on the Echo connecting with the parallel convergence or the binding connecting to actually make a pick right now. Sin, they have a very good team comp, but it's generally going to be on the back of a fantastic initiation from one of the two pick champions.
First Mate almost hits the binding. Kadra committing to the tower, but First Mate going to force him off at Trinity Force. Corki, he's at his peak right now as far as early damage goes. First Mate happy to take on both Kadra and Trashboat right now.
Yeah, pushing them away from the turret. If they don't want to hit the Corki, then there's no way for them to try and deal with him pushing them away. He's got very good wave clear. His raw damage, he can 1v1 Sivir very easily. She does not have a completed item.
No, in fact, Kadra's been banking a lot of gold. Got the Berserker Greaves for a bit more split push pressure. You can see what the plan for Sin is, but struggling to take out more than just the one outer turret. In fact, we're equal on turrets. It's just Sin that are up a dragon, and absolutely have about 700 gold ahead.
Yeah, not being able to make it work right now, Sin, we can see what they're telegraphing as their plan. They've got the Hecarim trying to keep the Maokai busy. Utilize their late game, I guess, is going to be the next plan of attack for them. They're not going to be able to get any more of the fast pushing. They're going to have to start grouping, but against the side of Absolute, grouping is not the easiest task when a Corki is 4-1. The Orianna has the large rod now.
Yeah, Absolute. Again, like they mentioned pre-game, looking to accelerate the game here. Do you have maybe, I don't know, call it 10-minute window, maybe a bit more?
I mean, like around the 30-minute mark is when Sin starts to outscale. This is all assuming that the lead hasn't blown out of proportion by then. So look around the 25-minute mark for some big team fights to start breaking out and some more intense action to really follow that.
Right now, as you mentioned, got a lot of farming going on here. Rosie got his Cinderhulk, no Spectre's Cow. picked up there as well. Rotovator's almost fully stacked. We talked about Rymeister's early timing on the item. He'll actually be quite strong, a bit earlier than you'd expect for a regular Castanen. Cardra also gone back, got his Infinity Edge, has his boots too there as well. And we've got Cinderhawk there for Deuce, probably building an Aegis by the looks of those components. But again, Everett is sort of building the next items. In fact, Corky's probably the next big one. Blade of the Ruin King coming through for first mate.
Yeah, and I guess that's going to be an interesting build up against the health stacking from the side of Sin, which is very good. And that you can see the Cinderhulk in particular being picked here for the Smite top laner as well as the Cinderhulk for Juves is going to be doing a lot of damage. But this right here, Rymeister is almost the entirety of this Sin lineup right now. He's level 12, taking stacks of minions. Once he gets 16, their team fighting capabilities skyrocket.
And he's got a 50 CS lead ahead of Mattress there as well. So great farming here for Rymeister. Mattress, again, not too bad given the 1 kill and 1 assist, but Absolute feels like they're struggling to find a pressure point here in this game. They want to press the advantage, they're just maybe not sure where to press it.
Juves, watch out, mate. Baron hurts.
It does. I don't know what Juice is doing there, but getting some wards down maybe is Absolute valiantly defend their mid-tier turret here. You can tell that's what Sing want. That's their next objective, but Absolute making sure they don't get it right away.
This is a very awkward position for Absolute at this stage, and the best part about this is it's being put in place by Sin. It's an absolutely beautiful decision for them to make. They're putting Cardra and Trashboat mid. They're running the 1-3-1 essentially, or 1-2-1, and having the roaming jungler. First Mate and Mattress are both sitting mid, and you cannot do that. You cannot have your AD and mid sitting in the same lane for a prolonged period of time, which is what has been happening. But you cannot put Mattress to split against Rymeister, and if you put First Mate to split against Rymeister, most likely the same thing going to happen. If you swap so that it's Jack attack against Rymeister, you can't put them against Rosie. So at the moment, there is no real answer to this 1-3-1 besides having them all mid and trying to counter push and force them to come back to you.
And that's perfect for Sin, who have 2 scaling threats that they're trying to get farm onto. Rosie and Rymeister been farming up a storm here all game long. Jack Attack will get in. He's got his Righteous Glory, Home Guard boots, and a Spectre Scale. He's actually doing nice in the trades here against the Hecarim, who's just sort of getting the first few items coming through. 20 seconds, sorry, not 20 minutes, that'll be a long time. 20 seconds till the next dragon here. Sin did get the first. I have to think they'll want to be in position for the second.
Yeah, definitely looking to be in position for that one. At the very least, giving them a window of another win condition right here, another way for them to close out this game. And if there's one thing that Sin wants to do is in this particular game, try and close it out so they're still in contention for the final.
Yeah, the point here matters a lot. We already saw one upset this evening between Sudden Fear and Immunity. Absolutely do aggro the dragon. They know that that's what Sin's next target is, but Pinkwood, they're denying some vision. Sin will have to go back and clean the rest of it up as Jack Attack really occupying Rosie, but Juves is here now. Phase dive pop there, will jump on. Jack will flash, but Rosie ulti's in there. Juves going to try and set up a W. Going to be slightly out of range, unfortunately, and that is going to give Absolute the dragon.
Yeah, it's just so aggressive trying to kill the top lane, and we've seen Rosie trade with Jack Attack for a very prolonged period of time. There's no way for them to contest that, but they might find Mattress.
Mattress, yeah, does eat a binding. Cardra, good spell shield. They're going to keep him safe. Dragon does go to Absolute, though. And Rymeister, again, was busy farming bottom lane. Couldn't come to help. Wouldn't even want to, honestly. It's a 3v4 there.
No point coming to help when your jungler and top laner are both in another lane, and one of them doesn't have health or mana to begin with. So the free dragon essentially going to Absolute, a very smart decision on the back of seeing Juice top.
Oh, Malik, though, it's a binding. Damage comes through. Command Protect will keep him reasonably healthy. Juice phase dives out from Jack Attack, who's diving in aggressive. Good time under those, going to keep him out. That teleport, wasted, you have to say.
Wasted, but he also has the ability to siege now. They want to work around the Corky's strengths and have that frontliner of Maokai, so there's no point teleporting in during a fight. He does need to be there.
Yeah, wave clear not quite enough here, though. Jack threatening as well as the tower goes low. We'll go to Absolute. Rymeister coming back around, though. Will be spotted by wards, yeah.
They definitely know he's there. Everything around that area they know of.
Oh God, he's farming the Raptors. Maybe a mistake here from Rymeister. Yep, gets away. He's like, yep, definitely not.
Has he, though?
Ooh, Strawbella might have been caught here. Oh, never mind. He has been caught. First mate's there as well. Throws a Q.
Okay.
Sends a message.
Yeah, easy. He got out quite fine. A lot of wards in that area. Very defensive, dragon-oriented wards. And the fact that Jack Attack did teleport into the mid lane gives a lot of pressure onto this turret. He can't take it just yet, Rosie, but it is in a much more comfortable position to take if he chooses.
And again, Sin prolonging a game they know they have as far as scaling goes. get the Cassidy bigger. He's almost got his Athenes built up by the looks of those components. Rosie needs some time as they've got the Spirit Visage on the way. Sin are fine if this game sticks like this.
I mean, definitely. And even look at the difference between AD carries and mids. And this is what I was touching on earlier, the fact that they can't just put everyone into the one lane and for a prolonged 1-3-1 expect to be able to come out scaling a bit stronger. They're starting to fall behind in farm. Everywhere is starting to ramp up a lot stronger, except for maybe just the top lane.
I mean, Rosie's got a slight lead there. Jack is really sticking it to him as far as the trades go, but Rosie, again, unless Juice is here and he does actually visit the top lane again, he's just going to sit back and farm. Although Echo, he's really trying to force the issue in top lane.
Yeah, I don't know why he's trying to force the issue top. We've seen them try it before. They don't get the kill potential onto him, but Jack Attack actually just wasted his ult away.
Yeah, popped it there. Now Juice's going to come in. Turret goes down in the mid lane, actually. Now Jack actually going to get attacked. Rosie ultis in, pops him back with a devastating charge. Challenging Smite down there as well. They're going to tower dive, they keep going, but he's so tanky. Just need a bit more juice, locks him up, needs the passive hit, doesn't have it quite yet. And Jack going to get slowed once more. Rymeister, though, goes down. He's far too far forward. Chrono break out there for Juice. He can't even kill Maokai.
They do force the second person top. That's something you can take away from it. But again, we just touched on the fact that why is he ganking top when there's no kill threat? They do get the turret all in all, so they find the objective. Meanwhile, though, Rymeister finds himself a first mate, and he's now a 5-1 Corki.
Yeah, they got two turrets actually. Did Sin, sorry. Got the top and the mid there, courtesy of, I guess, Rosie Juice in the top lane and Cardra there in the mid. First mate is answering in the bottom side. The Blade of the Ruin King's already been finished. You said it already, the 5-kill Corki is such a threat right now.
But it's funny because all of the kills that have gone onto Corki, the CS difference is almost evening out in terms of their gold. Comparatively, of course, going to be quite similar, in fact. And then you look at the mid lane, the CS difference is massive again. So all of these advantages that Absolute are finding, being ahead in kills by 4, has not really translated into a gold difference. In fact, they are still behind by 300.
They are, and Sin, it's a slight lead for sure, they're 300, but still a lead here for the team that does want to scale. Rosie, Spirit Visage completed, Glacial Shroud online now as well, so he's starting to ramp up towards those 2 big tank items and will presumably, maybe not though, move into that Trinity Force after that. Rymeister's got his Athenes, his Roa stacked. He's actually got a null magic mantle though.
That's interesting. The support, Strawbella has gone to the Banner of Command to deal with Rymeister split pushing, I would imagine. Putting it into that bottom lane, so he cannot 1-3-1 for too prolonged of a period of time, or it's going to take him so long to actually push the wave in.
I love Banner of Command.
Yeah, it's great.
It is great.
When you're not playing. And then it's not great.
True.
But in saying that, it's very effective in this game right now. Rymeister's going to have a very hard time with that. He does have auto attack damage, but it's mostly magic based
from
when
the W. Cool stuff though coming through for Strawberry. I love to see creative item usage. We saw Minkies, of course, banner top there on the Shen into Rise. Similar sort of feel there against the Kassadin, like you mentioned. So cool stuff. Deathcap actually completed for Matcha, so he's actually quite strong at this stage of the game. But Juice wants to line something up. Malik doing nice and tanky. Going to be a good front line here. Ulti pop by Cardred. They're going to try something. Rosie now finally in the mix. Ulti good, knocks Rymeister back in. Might be enough damage, but he goes in straight for the carries. Massive ult there for Rosie. Matcha slays Rymeister though. First mate still going in. He's got ridiculous damage. He's going to tear Juice to pieces.
First mate's going massive right now.
Oh my god, the rockets are good. First mate going off. Strawbella's dead. Juice is low. Trash boat will die to Malik. And first mate, he just doesn't care at all. He's so big.
He's having a field day right now, first mate. Everyone's just going for people to take them out. But first mate's just sitting in the wings, pacing down all of this damage and just destroying the Sin lineup. They try to hard engage. They work around the Sivir ultimate. Rosie does get his ult off, but they can't find the kills onto the important members. So Cardred actually focusing down Strawbella to take her out at the start of the fight. Malik finished with full health. Jack Attack, he did lose a lot of health in that fight, but that's not the one you want to focus when First Mate and Mattress, both comfortable.
Yeah, that sounds good. If Jack Attack's the one absorbing all that damage, as Corky's going to go back now, I wonder where First Mate wants to go with his next section to build. Last Whisper makes sense. There's a pickaxe, there's a longsword. I'd say you're right.
Yeah, I'd certainly hoped it would be up against the armor stacking that is going to come out of this lineup.
Oh, Strawbella, or shields herself, sorry. Rymeister gets out. Got to blast him. What are you? Oh, he's building a Bissell. There we go.
Yeah.
Figured it out.
Oh, right. I thought you were talking about Strawbella having
no.
had questions. But we're okay here. We're okay.
We are indeed. Sin are actually under the dragon. Never mind. Jack Attack putting his foot down right on the ward, porting himself in. Finds Juves actually with a twisted advance. Again, sponging damage, and now First Mate coming in for janitor duty. He's pretty strong. Absolute actually forced them off the dragon.
Yeah, they take the dragon for themselves on the back of that, taking them out of the dragon area. Sin cannot respond to it. Rymeister's starting to ramp up again. You've got Cardred starting to ramp up. All of this CS advantage is starting to become null and void, given the fact that all of these kills are now going onto the Absolute lineup, though. So the next dragon does go to Absolute.
And Absolute might have picked the latest window in their timing window to sort of get ahead with them mid-game, especially with the Corki, but Tindu picking just the right time here as they're starting to get ahead of Sin. Gold lead's growing a bit, 1,000 gold ahead now for Absolute in what's been quite a close game and a very elongated early game. Rymeister still split pushing though.
Yeah.
He's so committed to the farm. He needs his item.
This is why Absolute have had such a late window for the power spike, though, is the fact that 1-3-1 seems to be the plan for this Sin lineup. And Rymeister not being there, Absolute Jack attack in particular.
Yeah, taking too much damage though. Trying to dive. Malik goes in, finds someone as Trash Boat. Morgana going to pop the ulti, but does go down to a First Mate crit. Now Juve's going to get taken in there as well. Does Chrono break his way out? And Sin might have broken the tier 2. It does fall.
They traded though. The top lane has lost the turret. Rymeister can recall. If they can stop this one from going down, it will be an even trade.
Absolutely going to get on top of it. Ball's going to zone them away. Mattress does not have his ulti though. Jack tanking damage. He dives in. Actually advances onto Rosie. Chrono break there's not quite enough. Good block by Rymeister. First Mate. Very scary Corki, but Absolute need to attend to the top lane.
But again, all in all, it does even out to be quite an okay trade for Sin. They do lose someone, they take a death for their troubles, and the turrets are going down. But they get the top inner turret. And now the split pushing from Rymeister is starting to hit a point where there aren't many objectives left for you to take. You're going to have to start team fighting sometime soon.
Yeah, Last Whisper completed for Corki there as well. Means that, for me, all of Absolute hope rests on Corki right in his little plane there. Like, First Mate, he's done a lot of heavy lifting in the past. Again, he's an old school Oceanic League of Legends pro. Even on a champion like Corki, he can hard carry. And I love the Berserker Greaves thrown in there as well for a bit more late, I'm going to use late game in air quotes, carry potential.
On-hit oriented build, essentially, it's got right there. The Last Whisper, of course, chunking them down. The Blade of the Ruined King based on hit as well. So a smart adaptation of the build to not be entirely rocket-based with the ultimate for Poke, but instead to dive to teamfight and to auto-attack as much as possible. In saying that, we still have the 3 core items completed from Orianna.
Back attack going in. Mattress, you're right, doing good relevant damage with the Void Stuff. Now finished up as well. Rymeister also working on that next item. Cardred is 3 items there as well. And Rosie's finally got his Phage. Actually sort of skipping a Frozen Heart there. And Trash Boat, that's too much damage. First Mate's just going in.
He just doesn't care.
He really doesn't care.
He's a frontline. He's trying to be Sivir.
They're like Jugger Corkying it up here. Just riding the ball in.
The Corky Nord.
The Corky Nord. That plane is a lot tougher than it looks, let me tell you. They're going to ride into the top side. To the top side. Look for the tier 2 in the top lane. 5 turrets to 4 now. Absolutely going to try and make it 6.
Yeah, they're trying to force objectives as 5, and this is very smart from Absolute. They have recognized their win condition is not to let Sin just play them around and split push constantly. They've got the big Corki, they've got the front line to do this.
The banner of command was almost enough. Wasn't quite. Actually died quite quickly to Sivir, but the poke's good here. Mattress and First Mate. The Siege duo looking good here, and Jack and Malik, they've already shown they will not hesitate to dive someone.
No, they just do not seem to care when it comes to diving. They will not hesitate, but they're also now up against all 5 members of Sin, so this will be a big team fight to determine who really has the advantage. At the moment, Absolute are the ones pushing into them.
Yeah, not just yet. Juve's actually coming back from base. Needs to get there a bit earlier. They'll tank in. They might look for it. No, can't quite. Rymeister forces them to disengage.
Valkyrie.
Jack pops his ulti. Well, disengage here. Rymeister poking good damage there onto Strawbella.
Yeah, Cassidy is 16. That's a big factor into this fight for Sin right now. They are able to fight, work around the fact that Rymeister can super carry this, and he has his Void Staff as well. It's not the Abyssal, so he's gone for the penetration items. He wants to fight now. He does not want this lead to grow anymore.
No, and it is Absolute who... Actually, no, I look back up. Gold completely evened out again.
Yeah.
Absolute can't find any other objectives. Dragon up at a minute 25. All the teams are backing away. They know that these side waves or objectives are a thing to deal with, but Rymeister He hops so many times now at level 16.
Yeah, he does a lot of hopping at the moment. I mean, it's funny that the difference between both of these team carries right now is essentially completely zero because of the difference in farm, making up and compensating for the difference in kills. First Mate having all of those kills, but the difference in gold is actually zero because there is a 90 CS advantage essentially in favor of Cardred. In fact, he's probably ahead in gold.
I'm curious to see what the gold was like, but 2-1 up in Dragons is honestly the only tangible advantage here in the game, and that's not massive at this point in the game. 5 Dragons will come late in this game. Even if Absolute take the next one in, you know, at about 35 minutes, we're looking at 12 minutes after that one, so 18 minutes from that point till that next Dragon's up. That's almost an hour into this game. Don't know if that's where the teams are looking, and Absolute aren't even guaranteed to get the Dragon.
When you run out of other options, essentially, the Dragon would be a fantastic fallback to have. So if this game were to prolong to 60 minutes roughly, then it would be quite bad for Sin if there is the 5th Dragon objective. So you don't want to first and foremost go for that, but it's always going to be another option.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to take it here. It's probably one of the few things on the map that are reasonable to look at. Juves, though, Baron is still available, remember. Baron damage quite strong on both sides. Good vision there for Sin. Jack Attack trying to zone them away. But I look up at Rosie. I saw a damage item coming through. Trash Boat caught out there by Mattress. Forced to flash away. Follow Flash will come in. Righteous going pop. Ball's a little too slow. But Mattress should be able to catch up. Has got Trash Boat. He knows he's dead. He's going to die. The Grump going to help out. And that's a kill. That might be Baron.
That should be Baron, or it should be at least control of the Baron area. They may look for a team fight straight afterwards because they know where Sivir and Kassadin are.
Yeah, Righteous Glory Pop, they are going in, looking for Kassadin, but he's pretty hard to catch. First Mate really wants it, gonna dive in, but Rymeister, level 17, not going anywhere but away.
I mean, good luck.
Strawbella actually took
I look forward to this.
I mean, he's got blue buff as well, if that wasn't any worse, but Dragon will go to Absolute as a result. Good catch there as Mattress actually may be caught out as well. Cardred, 6 spell shield there to stop that ulti. And now 4v4.
Yeah, they make the pick, but the Dragon has gone to Absolute. So there's no Baron threat essentially, and I feel like that should have probably been the plan of attack from Absolute. Instead, they want to be a little bit more reserved in their actions. Go for that Dragon, secure the 3rd one for the move speed bonus. But here's the trade-off.
Yes, they're going to start Baron here. Just don't care at all. Rymeister dives in. There's no vision just yet for Absolute. Rosie walks over reward. Absolute now. Uh-oh, they're at the Baron. But it might be too late. Baron, 4,000 health left. They've got to go in now. Malik going to find his way in. Can he get the steal? Gets a good 3-man ulti, but he's too low. He's going to take damage. Goes in there. Chrono Break pop from Juves, but it's actually quite nicely done. Trash Boat, though, takes out Malik. Jack Attack doing work there, trying to take them up. But Strawbella getting chased out there. Jack still doing work. Strawbella does fall. Jack Attack literally taking 4 people. Takes out Cardred, but Rosie's chasing out the carry. Jack can't do anything else. First Mate has found Rosie with a black cleaver, and he gets the shutdown. Sin almost with the ace, but they'll get Baron.
Rosie picks him up in the end. The amount of damage coming from this Hecarim is just ridiculous, but
Yep, never mind. No Baron, by the way. Too low are the members of Sin, and Mattress is threatening with his ultimate ready to go. That was very odd.
All in all, that was a really close fight. They didn't even have Mattress there to put down damage. So considering that, Absolute is still in quite a comfortable position. The trade was not great in that fight, granted, but the items from Absolute are only going to get stronger. Sin, just a very similar predicament to be in, I suppose, but having Orianna in the fight and the fact that it was that close without her will be a big factor.
It will. I mean, First Mate couldn't really do anything but Hecarim without Orianna there to support him. Does have a QSS now to help out with some of this CC. But I'm curious as to your thoughts on Rosie's build, because he's gone Black Cleaver. That was his phase item, not Trinity Force.
It's funny, because it'll be like Sivir now kind of does a little bit more damage given that he has a Black Cleaver, but it's not specifically built for that, of course. Gives him the CDR, which is actually a lot of CDR.
Got too much
that's
now.
Way too much CDR. But let's not dwell on that fact. It does give a lot of mobility, and it's a way of not having the Trinity Force, but still getting the Phage mobility as an added bonus. And it increases your damage output by a fair amount. In saying that, I don't really understand why he's gone for that instead of the Trinity Force, because he's at roughly 60% CDR.
Cost efficiency maybe, but we've seen the Earth Mode Hecarim. Thank God the CDR doesn't go through to the other side. That would be problems.
What's the cost efficiency of too much CDR though?
Well,
so
that's true actually.
Trinity Force, one of the more cost-efficient items compared to a Black Cleaver if you already have max ADR, that's for sure.
Upfront costs. He's like, I don't have time to make this
Probably
investment.
recalled with like 1825.
Ooh, Dragon Attack might have caught Rymeister, but that's a hard catch to make. Cassidy gonna go through. Cardinal pops his ulti. Rosie's going in. He wants first man, but he's kiting him away. Damage not bad. Strawbella though a little low. Good ulti. No, it's not enough for Mattress. Can't peel them away. But Dragon Attack and Malik are tanking so much damage. Juzo goes back into the fight, but Rymeister gets blown up. Sin lose their key carry and Absolute. Now 5v4.
No Zonias for Rymeister to save him in that particular case right there. He has not gone for the Zonias. He's going an aggressive build. Absolute can take him down. He gets into the face of First Mate, who just turns it on its head and blows him up. And now they're going for the Baron.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to start this off. Sin do know about it. Rosie with his teleport and home guard, but no ultimate's going to try and get in there. Binding lands in. Kadra trying to poke. Absolute don't want to commit to it, but they've already used the General. I think you have to finish it. Rosie's coming in. Oh, they have to pull off. They're going to try and find a pick. Cardred does get body slammed. Rosie coming in, though. That's good damage. First mate has to cut away along with Mattress. Jack again taking up a massive amount of damage, but Strawbella may be caught out. No, it's Juice that's caught out. He does go down. Jack Attack still chasing in. Flash the ulti there, but now Rosie coming back in. Maybe too much. Jack Attack still going to lock him down. Rosie going to get taken out. He's going to die. He does.
Oh, my God.
Jack Attack, you've said it multiple times. This man is putting in overtime.
He is so tanky right now and just getting in the face of everybody from Sin. There is no way for them to get past him and find kills. A Mattress is reasonably tanky, has the overshield, of course, being able to put on the First Mate. First Mate, no chance of dying, especially because there's the Orianna and the Janna there to save him. And the damage he's doing is disgusting right now. So this side, they're finding themselves being forced into fights they maybe don't want Absolute, but Jack Attack can just sit in their faces and turn it around. Juice over aggressive, goes down for his troubles, and even though the shockwave misses, Rosie sees that as the go button. They can just completely catch Rosie out of position. The twisted advance to secure the rockets to hit, and it's literally on the back of Jack Attack right now.
Yeah, and they're back on Baron at Absolute. Jungler is back, but he's not going to be there in time. Ulti there from Malik, trying to get Cardred out of the way. That was far too close. But a clutch smite from Malik gets the Baron for Absolute. And they're still behind in gold.
Yeah, all in all, they're still so far behind because of the CS differential between their mid and AD carry. 100 difference between almost both lanes. 90 for mid, 100 for AD. So they are still behind in gold. The turrets are even, and even though it's a Baron to no Baron, they still are 1,000 behind. So Sin definitely in a position to take out this game still. Absolute have to play their next team fight super well, and I have a lot of questions about what Mattress has just completed.
I was about to ask you, what do you think of Rylai's Crystal Scepter on Orianna?
Do you want an honest opinion or what I think it might do for because I don't want to. It's really bad.
Okay, I mean, I'm not quite sure he doesn't have a Zonic. If he gets both, I think I'll understand a bit more because he's clearly worried about dying.
Yeah, so it's effective resistances. It's not an Abyssal and a Zonias. It's one item for like...
Just health.
Just health, the effective resistance of health. But in saying that, you now have no resistances and you die super quickly. You've got a Cassidy running at your face and your positioning is super important as the Orianna. So why would you go for an item that gives you slow when you already have dissonance? And then you're just going to be in the face of them anyway.
Rusty, I unfortunately don't have the answer. But what I can tell you is that Absolute have 4 dragons, just picking up that one, and are charging down mid with Baron buff. And Sinner out of position. They've actually been forced to recall back here. But Absolute, you can tell right now, Rylai's all know they are ready to fight.
Yeah, that is quite true. I will take that into consideration, Pastry. The fact that they have the Baron buff, very easy for them to walk into any lane now and control the minions. They even have the Banner of Command to buff the cannon if Strawbella feels like using that. There we go.
Value. Look at it. Majestic.
And now we watch it completely chunk down the turret, which is the greatest thing ever.
I mean, Cardred has to kind of get in there and hit it with a boomerang.
It's a win condition right now.
Let's see, that's so much health. I mean, that thing is 2,000 health.
300.
That's so much.
Look at it go.
We should give items to the cannon.
Oh, it's great.
He's coming in. He's still going. By the way, another cannon's coming. Cardred, he knows. He's like, I have to kill this.
This is kind of a big deal, guys.
The issue is like, if Cardred's so short range, like he has to try and boomerang blade without getting killed by poke. Oh,
there
smite.
We go. Outplayed.
True damage.
Completely outplayed the cannon. Not enough mechanics.
Rymeister. Sorry, he'll get to Challenger one day. The little cannon minion, I believe.
Cannon Elo hell.
Rhymaster was looking for a flank there, but didn't find it. Jack Attack, if he wasn't unkillable enough, by the way, got himself a Guardian Angel just in case. And these side waves are getting a bit out of control for Absolute. They are pushing mid, but top lane's huge here, and even bottom's pushing there as well. Sin have done a good job pushing these waves back.
Yeah, side wave control has been a big factor in this game from Sin. You can see the top wave. That's just going to be ridiculously far out of hand for Absolute to even get near. They have to stay in the bottom lane. They've committed to pushing mid and bottom. They just don't have that third option to move around the map towards. So they're limited, but it's not going to affect them too much. The big factor now, Baron is gone. Kardred has that wave clear available. There's no amazing cannon minions to get them through a turret.
No, not yet. Banner of Command almost back off cooldown. Might be one coming in, but Baron buff appears to have dropped off, so that will not be an option. Juice going in very deep. Wants to try and take out Malik, but they'll walk away from the W. Absolute ping the top tower. They know they have to get that mending wave, so Sin going to get a bit more breathing room back. They actually lost nothing, I don't think, from that Baron.
Yeah, basically
except
losing
Dragonfall.
nothing.
That was what they lost.
Yeah, so the big win condition is going to be that 5th Dragon now in the next about 4 minutes away from now anyway. For the next 4 minutes, essentially Absolute of the choice of do they want to continue to siege, do they want to risk having a fight that might go a little bit out of hand for them, or do they want to wait for that 5th Dragon? But you can see Sin already putting control around the area. They need to be super aware, super safe of that.
They do. And First Mate is getting stronger, but so is Kardred. Pretty much at this point, disregard the item builds. I mean, they're interesting in some respects. Jack Attack, obviously with the Guardian Angel, hugely tanky.
I can't disregard them, Pastry.
I mean, there's a Rylai's on Orianna. That's true. There's also an Aether Wisp, which might be for a Luden's
yeah,
Echo.
I like Luden's Echo.
You like Luden's Echo Rylai's?
I really like Luden's Echo, but Luden's Echo Rylai's doesn't have any added effect to it. It's just a Luden's Echo.
You don't even get the AoE slow? Really?
Oh, it doesn't even matter.
True, it's a very low slow. They're not wrong there. Well, we'll see what happens. Sin, though, trying to get vision around the dragon. Dwarven has pink ward plopped there in the pit.
I mean, in saying that, I would have liked a Zonias for Rymeister as well, so I won't harp too much about the fact that Absolute have a Rylai's Crystal Scepter.
He's going to build one. He's got a cloth on. I assume that's what it is, unless he's going really off the deep end with Aranduin's.
It's just that he had the items and went for the death cap instead. So looking for the raw damage, but needing that utility for a team fight, finding it sorely missing, especially in the fight where we saw him die and Sin having to back off because of that instantly.
Black Cleaver for Rosie as well. There's been a couple of item pickups that maybe we're not too sure about, but we'll see what happens. Baron up in a minute 55. That'll actually be back before the Dragon by the looks of things. Dragon now going to follow very shortly after. It's a tricky spot to be in. 2 major buffs.
Yeah.
Going to be coming back up within seconds of each other.
So the cool part about this is Absolute are now in the driver's seat. They've also got the top wave pushing out for them massive. It is going to be one of the biggest waves in history once it hits the turret, and that's Rosie, as we can see, wants to go and address that issue. In saying that, Baron in 1 minute 30, Dragon in 1 minute 30 also. Now Absolute have complete control of one of the areas of their choice because they have seen Rosie in the top lane. They can pretty much put all of the ward coverage they would like around the Dragon and just try and control that area. They could go for the Baron even and force that, Sin to take the Dragon so that they don't give up the 5th one and get a free Baron. Absolute, not essentially a free choice, but they are in the driver's position as to where they would like to have the next fight.
And they're still behind in gold, so
yeah,
having momentum is impressive here in this game, although Strawbella may be caught out. No binding there for Trash Boat.
Trying to push them away from the Dragon area, saying this is not going to be your 5th Dragon, and trying to push them away.
What do you think? What do you think's worth it? That's a tricky trade to think about. I think 5th Dragon's probably worth it over Baron.
Oh, it's always going to be a very interesting decision. Sin more so inclined to the 5th Dragon, or at least preventing that one from happening. And it does give Absolute the option of just going straight away to the Baron, knowing that Sin are going to do the Dragon. And saying that, Absolute might prefer the 5th Dragon buff to the Baron buff and be able to close the game out a lot sooner.
Well, once the Dragon's down, especially if Sin get it, that's a lot of pressure back up their shoulders. So you can see they want to fight for this, but Absolute might just say, you know what? Actually, we're going to take your base. Strawbella popped a Talisman. Juice might have caught them out of position. Jack Attack, though, going to soak up as much damage as he can. Juice getting low. They're diving onto First Mate. Forced a Chrono break out, though. Mattress finds Rymeister. He's so low. He's going to go down. Jack Attack, the hero, able to take him away. Kardred also can't check First Mate with Orianna there. First Mate going in. He wants to get aggressive. 5v4 for Absolute. Now 5v3. Trash Boat caught out as well. He will die. Jack Attack has gone big for his team, and that's 4 kills for Absolute.
And 70 seconds even on Rosie right now. They've got all the time in the world to try and push down with a wave. They don't even have minions because of the wave control, but they've got enough tanky members to be able to try and push through this base. We'll see if they can maybe end because they've got so long.
Yeah, Strawbella going for a reset, gives everyone a bit of health back. Big shields coming here. Big health boost for the front line as well. Cardred face checks first mate. That's not the right decision.
Oh.
Malik goes in, finds the kill, needs a couple more autos. Not enough. Jack goes in. Oh my god, he's still alive, but the towers are dying. That's not something Cardred could prevent. Absolute, our second upset of the evening, beats Sin Gaming.
They've just gone massive. They work around the dragon, but they don't go for it. They just end the game. They find the team fight that they were looking for. Absolute come up big, and you're right. The second upset of the night. Well done to Absolute.
Jack attack.
Yeah.
On his massive Maokai. Made team fights look impossible for Sin.
Yeah, that tree was an imposing force, to say the least. He was the biggest factor, irrespective of the rest of that team. First mate going large, having all of the kills. Mattress playing his role to a T, just being that pseudo support and dealing damage on all of the targets. But Jack attack, he would never die, not a chance.
Yeah, you saw, I mean, we didn't mention it in the draft actually, but kind of obvious. Rhymaster's Kassadin, a big carry for the team. Man, does Kassadin struggle against Maokai.
Yeah, has a pretty hard time, especially given that he didn't have the finished item build to work around, having maybe the Zhonya's Hourglass to use in the middle of a team fight, in saying that he was doing damage, but he was almost exclusively on the backline by himself.
He was, and it was a tough stuff there for Sim, but a nice win there for Sudden Fear coming on massive as we end out tonight, but we're going to let it wrap out with the boys outside in the Warm. Let's go back to Atlas and Spawn.
Thank you very much, Pastry Time. And another upset, exactly how Pastry Time just said. Absolute taking down Sin.
Yeah, you know, Sin, Avant, and Immunity all racing towards that 4th playoff spot. All of them trip, fall over the hurdle, hit their head a little bit. We'll see Thursday night whether they could get it back together.
Yeah, of course, there's still more games to be played this week, but if it continues like this, I have no idea who's going to be taking victories off you. Chiefs it might be their time a little bit early to drop a game this split. But let's have a look at how things went as this day progressed. Of course, Direwolves did fall to the Chiefs, so a predictable game, but then Sudden Fear pull out their first victory against what looked like a reinvigorated Immunity.
Yeah, then Legacy able to take it to Avant in a very bloodthirsty game, and to round it out, Absolute steal a win off Sin. And that was just an all-out hectic game of League of Legends. But of course, if you missed any of it, if you want any more information, stats, statistics, all the standings, head over to that website, oce.lolesports.com.
Yeah, definitely. And if you want to catch back up on all of the VODs as well, maybe check out what Absolute's lineup generally looks like. But that is going to be all for us for tonight, of course. Week 6, Day 1 has just concluded. So on behalf of myself, Spawn, Pastry Time, and of course Rusty and our whole production team, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on Thursday.